It went very well. We bishops appreciated it. We're off to a good start. No surprises, he expressed to us his ardent desire to work with all the faith communities of this great state. He said he realizes that the bishops of this state and the Catholic community have been an integral part in the common good of the state, and he relished the opportunity to meet with us, and he hoped that it was the first of many. So the salmon was good, the cheesecake was great. It was a good meeting. It was good. It was very productive. So,
Archbishop, did you push any particular issue? Did you make any progress on the issue?
I would think we made progress insofar as that the governor showed a very sincere attention and interest. You all know our agenda is never surprising. We're as upfront as you can be. We're basically concerned as Catholic pastors, as followers of Jesus Christ, of trying our best to give voice to those people who don't have any voice, whether that be the poor, the immigrant, our kids in our schools, the unborn, the elders, the people we try to take care of in our soup kitchens and in our hospitals. Those are the voices that we try to give voice to whenever we're here in the Capitol. We bishops mentioned the somewhat of the solidarity that we felt with the governor, as we did with any of the leadership we've been privileged to meet today. In many ways, the challenges are the same for us who have roles of leadership and service within the church. Namely, with fewer and fewer resources, we're asked to do more and more. And that, of course, is always a tension, and that's a challenge. It's something our government's facing. It's something we as church leaders face. And we mentioned to the governor that kind of gives us an innate sympathy for one another, and I think he was on the same page with that. So, yeah.
What are we looking at for the
About
size?
the impact of his budget on poor people, essentially the most vulnerable, especially concerns to him.
He knows that that's one of our concerns, as it is with him. And we admire that. You know, we Catholics it's part of our tradition that the virtue of prudence is always so important. You always try to be balanced. You always try to make sure that you have a temperate, sane, rational approach to things. The governor gave us the impression that that's a sincere desire of his. So when we speak up on behalf of those people, he gave us an attentive ear, wouldn't you say, bishops? Yeah, you know Bishop Hubbard and Bishop Murphy and I, along with Bishop DiMarzio of Brooklyn, who might be coming in any minute. We're what they call the executive committee of the New York State Catholic Conference, which Dennis and Jim is here, and Rick Barnes, of course. Where's Rick? Yeah. So we're doing this all the time, and Lord knows the interests, the concerns, the priorities of the Catholic community in New York. Boy, we're very upfront about those.
Obviously, last month there was a concern, or a lot of attention paid to comments made from an advisor to the Vatican Court out of Detroit, who had said that the governor shouldn't be allowed to take communion for his personal living situation, that he was living in public concubine. Do you, hey, I can't pronounce, but can you comment, do you agree with that? And is that a concern for you?
You would understand us, I hope, and we'd appreciate your understanding. That's the kind of delicate pastoral issue that probably this is not the best forum to speak about. Do we dodge those issues? No, we don't, but there's a time and a place for everything, and this is probably not the best place.
Even though you're the Archbishop? You are the Archbishop.
That pastorally sensitive. You bet I am. Don't you forget.
But what about the governor being a role model?
Is the governor allowed to receive communion in your diocese?
What's your estimation of how... I'm sorry.
Is the governor allowed to receive communion when you attend church in Albany?
As the Archbishop said, there are norms for all Catholics about receiving communion, and we have to be sensitive pastorally to every person and their own particular situation. And when it comes to judging worthiness of communion, we do not comment on either a public figure or a private figure. That's something between the communicant and his pastor, but it's not something we comment on.
But around the country, bishops have often commented on the advisability of elected officials for receiving communion.
Well, some bishops have done that, but not all bishops have done that. And quite frankly, there is a disagreement among bishops about using the communion line as a place for confrontation. And I don't think that the bishops in New York State feel that's appropriate.
Archbishop, but what about the governor being a role model for the state? He is living with his girlfriend. I mean, is that something that you support?
Our religion would also say it's not good to judge a person. The founder of our religion, Jesus Christ, said, be careful about judging. We bishops would agree we're not about to shy away from any matters of faith and morals, and we feel strongly about that. What we're saying to you today in all sincerity is there's a time and place for everything. And we wouldn't dodge that if that would come up in a particular situation with a particular person. Is this the time to get into those delicacies? I don't think so.
Did you discuss that with the governor?
No.
Has the conference taken a position on millionaire's tax, the so-called millionaire's tax?
Rick, I'm not familiar with that one, are we? The millionaire's tax? Since none of us are.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Rick, what's our?
No, we haven't taken a position. We tend not to comment on the fiscal policies of the state. There have been times, rare times when we have, but on this issue, we've not taken a position.
I just complimented, and I don't mind sharing that compliment with some of the legislative leaders that we've been honored with to meet today. I would compliment our leaders here, the governor and our Senate and House leaders on, sure, this is a neuralgic issue, it's a potentially volcanic one, but the state of New York seems to have we're dealing with this in a much more temperate way than what seems to characterize other states. And I was sincere and I congratulated them on this. They said, look, we gotta, Lord knows this city's never been free from neuralgic controversies, but in this particular budget controversy that seems to be affecting every state and every church for that matter, they seem to be doing it in a very prudential, sane way, and I congratulate them, and they've got our prayers and support in that way of doing things.
Did the topic of same-sex marriage come up, something that Governor Cuomo has supported?
The governor would be we rehearsed the issues that he knew we stood strongly on, and that's one, the defense of marriage, obviously the defense of innocent human life in the womb. Sure, so we don't shy away from issues. I think it was a very candid, frank dialogue that both sides benefited from.
What did he say
But
about
also a
it?
very respectful dialogue. He's very respectful to us and to our positions, and we're very respectful to him. But that doesn't mean we shy away. We say what we are called to say as bishops and teachers of the church.
Do you think you'll be able to change his position?
Well, we're sort of in the business of changing hearts. We try our best. Tomorrow we're going to give out ashes and say to people, repent. That means change your hearts and minds. So we're in the business of calling people to conversion and repentance. And no, I just find myself, for the first time I've had the honor of just a long, substantial sit down with the governor. I found him remarkably attentive and sensitive and open to what we had to say.
Archbishop,
in the meeting, did you state your opposition to same-sex marriage? Did you discuss that?
Well, we didn't have to. It's so well known. I mean,
So it didn't come up specifically?
I don't think that particular issue came up in detail. When I was just kind of in the opening conversation going through with things, I said, you know, there's areas where we're closely allied on, and there's areas where we're probably going to have a little challenge here, and I rehearsed some of those.
So what did you specifically see from the governor?
Well, I just think it was to get to know each. What are those bottles up there?
Legislative director. You're all invited.
This might be a more substantial news conference.
It's the Wall Street Journal's desk, Your Excellency.
Archbishop, there.
Any discussion of theology beyond public policy?
Pardon?
The governor engages in any discussion of theology or church doctrine beyond politics?
No. But when we talk, obviously we talk from a faith conviction, and we talk in a sense of what we know as our tradition. So that's the way we enter the conversation. But was it a theology lecture? No. Did he enter into, deep Christology or something? No. We talked in a very open and I think a very, very friendly and fraternal way with one another.
Archbishop, there is a new caucus in the legislature called the Choice Caucus that feels that there's a growing fervor of anti-abortion movement, and they feel that they need to come together to actively resist against that in New York State to make sure that they are protecting reproductive rights. I was just wondering what you thought about that, if you think there is a growing movement.
I hope they're right. I hope there is a growing movement against abortion. We bishops feel strongly, not only as committed Christians, but as American citizens who cherish the rights upon this nation, upon which this great nation was founded, that we're talking about a premier civil rights issue. Does the unborn baby have the right to equal protection of the law? And we feel that the unborn child does. And boy, we will be indefatigable in preaching that and promoting that. Sometimes it's not the most politically correct cause, but that does not move us to shy away from it. We feel very strongly about that. Again, not only as Catholics, folks, you bet we're proud of the prophetic position of the Catholic Church and other Christian and Jewish and religious communities as well, but most of all as Americans who believe strongly in civil rights. This is a big one for us. If there are some people who say, uh-oh, the political climate is swinging in the direction of a greater respect for life, and by the way, the scholars tell us a case that's probably accurate, we just say, bravo, we're glad that's happening, because we're at our best when we educate and when we encourage and when we try our best to inform, and maybe we're having a little success in that.
Did you ask the governor, sorry, don't get distracted. Did you ask the governor specifically to undo anything in his budget?
No, we didn't get specific, did we? We didn't get into specifics.
We did refer some things, and he referred some things to we talked about at a different time. That there are issues that we could look at.
We're very strong on the schools, as you know, our schools, we're very strong. I was flattered that he complimented the testimony that I gave a couple of weeks ago, many of you were there, about our schools, and he said, I listened, you got some good points. The governor was pretty realistic about the fact, as we're picking this sentiment up as we walk the halls, that our political leaders here are understandably very preoccupied with the budget issues and larger issues that might be on our mind. And we've just been talking about some of them. They keep saying that we're sensitive about those too. The day will come, please God, that we can meet those issues more aggressively. Right now, we need to get our financial house in order, and I can appreciate that.
Bishop Hubbard, you ministered and you lobbied the first Governor Cuomo. And I'm wondering, when you made these arguments about the Catholic faith and the need to minister to those who are the least fortunate, how receptive was this Governor Cuomo compared to that Governor Cuomo?
I think he is very receptive. He alluded to the work that he did on behalf of the homeless before he became the Associate Secretary and the Secretary for the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And he said that he wished that he had more resources so that he could identify those needs and be more responsive to them. But until we get our fiscal house in order, he's not going to be able to place as much priority on those issues as he would like in future years as governor.
Archbishop Dolan, did it come up at all, the issue of the difficulty in getting this meeting together and whether the governor...
It didn't, no. Thank God it didn't, because it was a bit of a tempest in a teapot, so it worked out well. We were just happy to be there, and he obviously was too.
Was there any hard feelings on the part of the bishops?
I sure didn't attend, not among the bishops, and I sure didn't think he had...
He didn't show anything. It was
And are you comfortable?
very, very good.
Are you comfortable that it was what they said, a scheduling mix-up, as opposed to
Sure,
anything beyond that?
sure. Hey, it worked out better. We got lunch out of it. I told him, I said, I hope this doesn't add to your budget problems.
Archbishop Dolan.
We got to go see the speaker.
Yeah, we got to go soon, so we got time for more.
Sure.
Bishop DeMarzio said
You don't have to kneel. Deference.
Bishop DeMarzio said that he felt very welcome in the governor's office, but the governor welcomed you in the political agenda, meaning it doesn't seem like you got into very many specifics. So what's the next step to deal with the specific issues?
Well, in a lot of the issues, he said, this is a great entree. And he said, you know, and his staff was there too. He said, let's follow up on that one. Let's get together on that one, particularly with the school and education stuff. He says, I got some questions to ask about greater cooperation, how we can help you out. I keep driving home, and he shook his head in agreement. I said, look, you all tell us in the government that you want quality education, you need to save money, and you need more room. We can help you in all three. We do the best job around, we'll do it at half the price, and we got room. It's a no-brainer, can't we cooperate? He said, yeah, let's do it. We need to get some good heads together from both sides. So there will be follow-up, and that, of course, is why Rick Barnes and Jim and Dennis are here. They kind of do that full-time and keep us posted. So, all right, we got to go.